life was pretty much like being on a roller coaster.
To say I was stuck in my head was a complete understatement.
I really felt like I was at the mercy of all my thoughts and feelings. I was a massive overthinker, had a really strong critical internal voice running.
And I was riddled by negative self-talk, that critical voice that told me that I was not enough and that I was that awkward, shy person that was never actually going to get ahead in life.
And always worried about what people thought about me. I would sit there and stew on conversations for days, just rehashing and replaying them over in my mind.
And so I was caught in that cycle of judgment, obsessing over how I would be perceived, feeling like I had to be a people pleaser, that I didn't fit in, and that ultimately I was an imposter and I was going to be found out for simply not being good enough or not smart enough or whatever I told myself. But truly, when it comes down to it, it was me who was judging myself.
So I was practicing yoga at this point, and I did find that quite good for some grounding and calming, but it actually made it more obvious that my mind was super busy. And I remember sitting there one day in the yoga studio, just completely and utterly deflated, exhausted, drained, and really sick and tired of my own internal dialogue.
And over the years, while I may have made some leaps and bounds in different areas of my life, I still felt defeated, being a victim of my own critical mind.
I think I was in tears, actually, just wishing I could flick a switch and turn it off, or better still, just kind of take a vacation from my own mind. I knew I didn't want to be running these things, but I just didn't know how to not overthink, to let things go easier, to turn down that critical voice.
Today, my thoughts don't rule me anymore.
For me, that critical voice has absolutely disappeared. It's a lot quieter up in my internal headspace.
The distinction is that when I notice old patterns resurface, I'm able to catch them so much sooner than I used to, which means I can interrupt them, almost like saying, "Hello, you, my old friend," and then push them aside because they no longer have any value in my life.
I found with hypnotherapy, some things shifted almost instantly. Like you had these big aha moments where everything changed in an instant. And then there's this lovely magic to it where other stuff just slowly builds and takes time. The most recent things for me that I found have changed is I'm much better at setting boundaries. I can comfortably say no to people. I don't really worry so much about whether people like me or not, what they think of me. So those things have been a slow burn. And I think it's almost like peeling an onion. You have to get rid of certain layers before you can address the next thing.
I've definitely put the perfectionist in the back seat because these days I'm quite happy to say that I'm perfectly imperfect, because there's no point being a perfectionist and being limited to share your gifts with the world.
Definitely, like every single person on this planet, still a work in progress. But yeah, the big changes for me is it's much quieter up in the internal headspace. And I know to the core of my being that my thoughts and feelings don't have control of me. I have control of my thoughts and feelings, and I can choose what I decide to think or feel. And I have a lot more awareness around the patterns that I can slip back into. And so that gives me the choice to change how I want to be in that moment, whether I want to actually sit and dwell in it and process, or whether at this point in time I just want to flick it aside and let it go.
I call the state of trance meditation 2.0 because while it can be incredibly relaxing, it equally enables a beautiful state of being that allows us to have incredible insights
like a really deep meditative state. So when I'm in trance, my body gets really super relaxed.
That deeper state of awareness whereby you have greater insights, where you have greater clarity, where your conscious, logical mind is almost distracted or quietens for a while. And so I know in that state that I can trust myself, that I'm creating positive change.
While I'm in this really relaxed state, it's like my emotions have been taken out of the way, like my logical brain has been shifted aside so I can view things from a different perspective. The things that are being said to me while I'm in this hypnotic trance, I hear them a different way. It can bring things to mind that I never thought of before. My biggest aha moment with hypnotherapy was this concept that not everything that I thought and felt was necessarily valid.
My big aha has been that we are not defined by our previous negative thoughts and feelings. We are not defined by that critical voice.
So there's this lovely strategy where you check in, is this thought or feeling I'm having actually valid? So that means you have to check in with what's going on in the situation. So an example might be, I would quite often feel like maybe people are judging me. And if I wanted to check if that was valid, I would have to look at their body language to see how they were interacting with me and actually listen to the words they were saying. And if I did that, they were never judging me. It was all me mind reading and me thinking that because I felt judged, I was being judged.
And so that enables a beautiful state of awareness to come to the forefront, that we get to choose. We get to choose what thoughts and feelings we pay attention to and the ones that we let go of. Because ultimately life is not about finding ourselves, it's creating ourselves. And that beautiful creation space starts today.
This question of, is this thought or feeling valid, was just such a massive light bulb moment for me. It was one of those things, at the moment I realized that I could check if what I was thinking or feeling was valid. It was just that moment of, how did I not know this? How did I always think everything I was thinking and feeling was valid? So yeah, big aha moment for me. Is what I'm thinking and feeling now actually valid?